I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Julpy and Ghosty and Chip. This is Bolt Thrower. How do you say that? Because I know I said it wrong. Okay.
Cenotaph.
Okay, this is the True Cult.
True Cult. Oh, don't forget their intro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I know exactly what intro it is, but did I put it in my intros yet? I'm pretty sure you said that you were going to send it to me.
I sent it to you before from the big homie Damon Sage.
Yeah, I think that you were going to send it to me after, because we were on a call at that point.
Okay.
Okay, so yes.
So I will send that to you so that we can have the proper intro.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Send to Blue.
Perfect.
It's being sent.
Which calls me Blue.
It's being sent to you.
We're on this keto diet. Cubes of cheese.
Cheese. Okay, so this is from the True Cult. Okay, so the way to get into an alliance is it's $1 to gate at Patreon, and starting from there, then you get a bunch of perks. One of those perks is that you can pool your points, and you get songs reviewed based on that. And so the True Cult is sort of like our death metal / black metal alliance, and so they're very, very mysterious, and so that's why their intro was the way that it was.
Right.
Very, very mysterious. This is a True Cult. This, I think, is a death metal band, though. Although it looks like an Avengers cover.
I know.
The name of the song is Cenotaph. From the
Do you know what that means, Cenotaph?
Cenotaph is a war memorial.
Oh.
Like an epitaph, cenotaph.
Okay.
War memorial. I don't really understand the prefix Ceno. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
But there you are. Epi, the prefix epi means the end of something. Like an epilogue or something like that. So an epitaph would be the final word taff.
You're right. You're not smarter than anybody else.
Well, if I was smarter than everybody else, I would know what the prefix Ceno comes from, whether it's Latin or Greek or whatever, and I obviously don't, so I'm not as smart as you think I am.
Ready?
Dumbutt. Cenotaph, Bolt Thrower. For time and topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. Go!
And go!
This was a pretty stripped down, straight Slaughterhouse Studios.
Oh my god!
The name of the recordings. I don't know. I just feel like that's like exactly like what this is stripped down death metal, man.
Yeah.
You didn't say. I could tell that you're not necessarily gonna like it, but like when I first started playing guitar, like once I got done recycling all the blind riffs that I could.
Yeah.
Because it was all blind. Mm-hmm. My man Ralph, when I unboxed my first guitar, like he was like, "All right, I'm gonna show you how to play blind." And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm playing."
Okay, yeah.
But then when I got out of that, these were the first types of riffs that I was playing. So it was like, yes, you know, especially at the beginning, like that beginning stuff. But I love like simple emotive riffs. The reason I liked it was because you're able to rock out and not really think.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
You know, and then
I can see that.
then I started getting into other stuff, and I'd be like a statue because I was trying.
Okay, if I was playing this, I would be extremely proud of myself.
That riff?
Yes, I would be extremely proud of myself. I'd be like, wow, this is really cool, I'm doing this. But, I'm not playing it. I'm listening to it. And so, yeah. I didn't really like it.
Okay. So what did you think of the song lyrically?
I think what he was talking about...
A little.
Yeah, I think what he was talking about... Like, if you said it's a memorial for, like, war things.
Yeah.
So basically he's saying, like, you have this memorial that's going to kind of last forever, but it's a parody because it represents the mortality of the people.
Right, and it's kind of a nihilistic sort of inevitability.
It's a tribute to the dead.
A dark reminder to mankind's oblivion.
But that's not what I look at those things as. Do you?
Well, I mean, you're a Christian, so you're looking at it from a Christian worldview. But if you're looking at it from a nihilist worldview, you're going to say, well, it's just a matter of time before the final war destroys us all, because now we've got nuclear...
I look at it as bravery,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's... Yeah, sure.
I don't think a lot of people are looking at, like, those type of things and thinking about the mortality of the... Like, I feel like most people are looking...
You don't think people are looking at a tombstone or a memorial? For dead soldiers and thinking about mortality?
Well, no. I do think that, but I'm saying... I think that if you have a memorial, that more people are thinking about the bravery of the people and the... I feel like people are thinking about the positive. I don't think people are... Maybe I'm wrong. People look at those things like, we're all gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. I don't know.
Well... No, I don't think everybody goes straight up to nihilism. But people... I think the American propaganda machine has done a very good job at romanticizing war. So when you look at that, you go bravery, yada, yada, yada.
Oh my gosh. Don't do that to me. I hate that.
What? Don't do what to you?
When all of a sudden I realize that my thoughts are not mine, that it was pushed at me. You're right.
Nobody's thoughts are theirs. I mean, you didn't invent the English language.
Well, I might have.
You think in English, right?
But you know what I mean.
No, I don't.
I get what you're saying.
No, I honestly don't know what you mean. Do you believe that your thoughts are original?
I do think that I have some original thoughts.
How can they be original when the language that you're speaking in them is something that was given to you?
The language was given to me, fine, but...
So then, by necessity...
You don't need to have a language to have thought.
Well, I agree with that. Theologically speaking, I agree with that. And you know why. But, yeah, we're straying off the path here. I'm more on this side of it. You know? I'm more on this guy's side. Obviously, I'm a post-millennialist, so I don't believe that we're going to go into oblivion. But I do believe that it's going to take a lot of dead bodies until we figure out, maybe we need to have another way of relating to each other.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
You know, and that's one of those things where it's like, until we figure that out, the idea that there's a single lone superpower in the world is obviously convenient for me to say as an American, but a good thing. Mm-hmm. Because if you had multiple superpowers in the world, then you have a situation where we could actually destroy each other. The fact that there's only one superpower in the world means that that's really not going to happen. So like if the Russians really had a problem with us, all they could do is create some meme farms and meddle with our elections, supposedly. Right now, some of you go, unsubscribe! He's a Trump supporter. No, I'm not. But you see, my point is, you know, I think a lot of like people in our generation don't understand what it was like to actually be in the Cold War. You know, kids were doing these drills, going under their desks because the Russians were going to. So, like, when there was sort of like sort of an equivalence between us and the Russians as far as military strength goes, like. The whole world was in more danger. Yeah. The world is in a lot less danger now of actual destruction because there's a lone superpower in the world. You know, back in the day, you had the doctrine of mutual assured destruction. So mutual assured destruction was, hey, Russia, if you nuke us, we're going to nuke you. It doesn't make sense to do that. In 2003, you know, that whole jihad in the Kashmir Valley, you know, between the Muslims and the Hindus, and you had one side saying, "Hey, you nuke us, go ahead, we're going to obliterate you. We're a subcontinent over here in India." So India was saying, "We're a subcontinent, so we can afford to lose a couple million people, but we can bomb you motherfuckers off the planet." Like that was the rhetoric that was happening back and forth over there. Wow. But the kind of the UN stepped in and said, "Nah." Yeah. And so it's like, but if, and then of course the big bully behind the UN was us. And we had already demonstrated with Mr. Bush that we don't care what anybody says. If we feel like something is going to harm our interests, we're just going to come in there and fuck you up. And so, but you know, it didn't really get to that point, but there was a big bully on the block that could figure everything out. And of course, as an American, it's like that guy said, the agency guy said on the Rogan show, he's like, you know, we're a benevolent force for good in the world who makes some mistakes every now and then, you know. So you got that guy saying that, then you had Trump yesterday saying, I think it was Colorado, I don't know where it was. He said, hey, we were getting screwed big time. Like, for example, we didn't take as much oil as we should have in Iraq, but I made sure to correct that in Syria. I left the guys for the oil. And he's saying it like... So, I know, yeah. So my point is that that's horrible to my sensibilities. But at the end of the day, if you look at, you know, Alexander the Great, you look at the Roman Empire, like, you had this sort of monolith of power consolidated to one group of people that basically dominated the world. And on the one hand, as a principle, you could say that's wrong, but then when it comes to the modern age and our ability to kill each other in very efficient mass scales in a very short period of time, the idea that you could have multiple countries that have that type of power is not a good idea. And so, you know, people say, oh, and I say this, we've outspent our, you know, everybody else like a million times over on our war chest.
We've outspent them? Oh, yeah. In other words, we have way more?
Oh, so yeah. We've lapped the entire world many times over on investing in warfare.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And the reason for that is because you want to make, you know, one of the phrases you'd say all the time is make sure it's not a fair fight. So, you know, and so anyway, my point is...
All's fair in love and war, I guess.
My point is that when he's talking about mankind's oblivion, like, we're not really going to get to that point unless you have multiple nations that have the ability to go toe-to-toe with each other.
Right.
You know, and that's some of the reasons we sabotage other countries and things like, well, that's the justification given to the people operating to sabotage these countries and, you know, destabilize other regions. And it's like, hey, if you let these people consolidate, then you're going to have multiple superpowers. The world is literally in your hands, you know, and then, okay, let's go screw up that.
Tower of Babel all over again.
Let's go screw up that country and, you break a few eggs to make an omelet so that you can save the rest of the planet. So a lot of times, like, people like look at, how could you do this terrible thing? How could you do this terrible thing to all these group of people? Well, people are like, well, that's why. Yeah. You know, and who's this?
I know. What a complicated thought.
Right. So so, you know, and so I get it, you know, and without a sort of compass to say, how are we not going to destroy each other? Obviously, like, we have a compass, and it's a Sermon on the Mount. It's like, that's a way we're not going to completely obliterate each other. But then the question becomes, why do you have to make these cenotaphs? Why do you have to do that in the first place? Why do you have to commemorate war and all the people that died in it? Don't their families already know that that's happened? They've lost somebody, they buried somebody? Why do you have to make it a giant memorial to war in the first place?
Because, like I said, I don't think that it's a memorial to war. I think that it's a memorial to the people of the war, recognizing that people have more value than what they did in that war, and that the acts of bravery that they did. And because the thing is, there's got to be, in an actual war, when people are out there, there's got to be millions of things that are taking place that are like, whoa, like, that's a crazy act of bravery, or that's like, there's heroism there, and there's different things that took place that not everybody knows the whole story because so much is going on at the same time.
What about the acts of cowardice and atrocities committed?
Yeah, but that's not what they're celebrating with that. They're not saying we're gonna erect this thing for all the friggin' cowards that were... I mean... call them a coward, but I don't know, I mean, they went part way. Like, some people, I think, probably join up in these movements and stuff, and then they're like, oh my gosh, when
you don't
they get
think
there,
there's enough propaganda already that romanticizes war for people without that?
Without building that thing?
Yeah.
No, I think that it's important to have that. I think that it's important to put something up and say,
how come?
This is for our fallen. Because it brings like a certain, well, I mean, am I coming from a Christian perspective, or are we just coming from a regular human
I'm talking about you, Sori. Why?
Me, Sori, it's moving to me when I see those big stone things set up with the soldiers etched into it and the names written on it, and, you know, the people that have fought for our country.
This is one.
Okay. The glorious dead. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Yeah, but I'm not...
Glorious dead.
That's what it says.
Yeah, I know. It just seems like propaganda to me. What do you mean the glorious dead? Where I just don't... Yeah.
Because you're honoring them. They gave their lives for something.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? I don't understand this.
What do you mean you don't understand it?
I always thought that these things were moving.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's just more...
What do you mean you don't know?
It's just more...
I don't know what you mean by propaganda. Like, it's supposed to get people to what? What's the point of it? Like, to get people to...
Well, you have a very romantic understanding of war. Like, when you initially talked about it, you're like, bravery and honor and all the rest of it. And I don't have that perspective on war.
Oh.
So, you know, in fighting and killing and...
Yeah, but what I have...
There's tough, hard motherfuckers crying for their mom as they're about to pass out because they're going into hypervolemic shock. You know,
that's terrible.
And their
oh my gosh,
bowels are releasing on themselves. That's not glorious.
No, but the fact that they went to bring freedom to other people is what?
Who did that?
The people that have fought.
I mean, this is in England. The vast majority of the wars in England have been fought in their history. They've been wars of conquest. Right?
Yeah.
So that the sun would never set on the empire. And so
wow. So you see that, you see something completely different.
I just see psychological operations. You know, like, I just see, you know, it's just, I don't really see much of a difference between that and the flyers that you hand out.
So what is it? You're saying this motivates people to be a part of it because they're...
No, it is part of the fabric of a certain narrative that you grow up in. That's an unquestioned narrative that, you know, it's like that famous quote in I think it's the Spanish-American War where the guy said it'll be a glorious little battle or whatever.
Yeah.
Talking about how glorious it is, and young men are always trying to find ways to prove themselves and prove their manhood, and many times violence is a way that you prove your manhood and all the rest of it. And so it just seems like, so things like that, you know, I'm sure there's people that walk by that thing every day and see that thing every day and don't even know that they're seeing it. I didn't even see that. You saw that. I didn't see that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't see that, and I was like, "What is she?" Oh, okay, Gloria said, "Okay, there it is."
Well, it went along with it.
We'll put that picture in the thumbnail so you wonderful people can talk about the Gloria said. Like, I have obviously, I mean, I have a lot of respect for anybody that's died in combat, obviously. And whether you're fighting a war of conquest or a just war and making righteous kills, the motivation for those guys is the same in any situation, which is they just want to get home. And their friends want to get home. The problem is that the people that they're trying to kill want to get home. And the only way you can get home is to make sure that the other guy doesn't get home. Mm-hmm. So, and it was They Will Not Grow Old, I think, is a documentary on the World War I and World War II or whatever. And this one guy was talking about they were storming the thing and they were just getting mowed down, and one of the guys, like, half his head was missing and he was crying, and so he had to shoot his friend, and put him out of his misery. And then he said, that hurt me. Like, yeah, I'm sure it did. And, so I don't know, like a lot of those guys, I've had, they don't really talk about it like that. Or like,
yeah.
I had a guy in Texas that was in the whole Black Sea situation in the Black Hawk Down thing. Mm-hmm. And like, he doesn't, he's to this moment very angry and bitter because one of his friends was getting dragged around Mogadishu, and him and his buddy locked and loaded, and they were spinning out to go, and he said we were going to kill them all wholesale. Mm-hmm. And he's angry to this day
because he didn't get to. That
the guy in charge, I'm not going to mention his name, the guy in charge basically, you guys can't do that. You can't do this. CNN's out there. Of course, you got all these cameras watching this American getting dragged in the street, and that's okay. This is him talking to me. That's okay. So if we go out there and smoke these people, waste these motherfuckers, that's bad. And like, I'm looking at him like, yes, that would be bad. You cannot go and kill a bunch of civilians as a representative of the United States of America on camera. It doesn't matter what those people did. See, that's the other side of being the big bully on the block. On the one hand, you get to invade any nation you want. But on the other hand, you get held to crazier standards than other people don't. Because people are like, oh, those guys are savages. You expect them to be savages. They were playing soccer with some guy's head 2 days before. That's a true story. So the glorification of all that stuff is just a strange thing to me.
Yeah.
And so it's just, oh, the glorious dead. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think I still have, I think you're right as far as the, like, my thoughts about it. It's like the, proud to be an American.
Yeah, and you should be.
Please I know I'm free. That whole thing.
Just don't not pay your taxes to see how free you are. No, I agree. Pay your jizya. No, but I agree though. I agree. You should be proud to be an American. Like, I get it. And I have, I always say there's more than one reason anybody does anything. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that, propaganda and narrative writing is the only reason that you have those things. My thing is I make a distinction between honoring the people who put their lives on the line, write a blank check to their country. I want those people honored as much as possible. Well, look how we've treated our veterans. That's the other thing that kills me. It's like,
I know.
Let's spend all this money on memorials, but screw the veterans when they get home.
No, you're right.
Oh,
you're
got
right.
PTSD. Oh, hey, you're on the street.
You're right.
You got vets that still backed up, can't get health care and all the rest of it. Like, the VA is a joke. Like, but yeah, let's have this memorial up here and pretend like we actually care about these people.
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
But those are people, many of whom, because of things like that, glorious dead and blah, 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 because of that whole narrative that's spun, they went to join to protect their country. Mm-hmm. When you're 18 and you're 19, you don't think to yourself, well, wait a second, who's really trying to fuck with us? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think about that, but then, like, oh, they give everything, including, I'm talking literally like their minds. They give everything for people that they don't know, and people that they will never see, and people that honestly do not give a damn about the sacrifice that they made. And sometimes I feel like those things are there because of the collective guilt of the culture that says we've really tossed these people aside. But if I have this thing, I can say that I've paid homage to these people instead of doing the grinding work.
Wow.
Of maybe you're not going to be able to collect as much on your check because we've increased taxes so that we can actually take care of veterans because it's going to cost money.
Yeah.
But we've got this giant war chest on speculative, experimental, blah, blah, blah. And we've got an actual guy here who's got a broken mind and a broken body, and we're going to give him the least care possible. But hey, we've got this memorial, and you're a glorious...
Yeah, I was talking to somebody, and they said that they get like a 4 or 6 hour class when they get back, and that's supposed to help. Like...
Oh... Yeah,
what is that? Just so you can say you did something?
Yeah.
Doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah. You know?
Sick.
And, you know... So like, I'm more a little cynical about it based on, you know, experiences. Look how, we've got family members that are not being taken care of very well by the VA.
Yeah, I was just talking to one of them today.
So... You know, but hey, we've got this, you know, whatever. But the good news is I don't believe that we're going to go into utter oblivion. You know, I believe we're going to figure it out. I don't know if we're necessarily going to make it into that, but you know, but I think it's I think, like, when you think about death metal and things like that, it's like it's not a celebration of death, really. It's about looking at the last enemy that we have, especially from a Christian perspective. The last enemy to be destroyed is death. You know, death and Hades were cast into the lake of fire. So, I appreciate being able to look the stuff in the face and look in another way. And I appreciate what you're coming from, too, because every society needs a virtuous version of war. Because violence is a reality in the world, and so because of that, you always have to have a warrior class, and you're not going to create a warrior class by this cynical attitude. You have this cynical attitude if you make it out of war into your 30s. When you're 10 and 11 watching G.I. Joe, and when you're 18 and you're 19 watching Black Hawk Down, you need that. And then if you're lucky enough to make it home, then when you get to your 30s, you can be a jaded, angry person. So, what do you give the song?
7.
I'm gonna give it 8.9. 8.9. It's a good song. Didn't break it into the 9 mark, but the main reason I'm giving it such a high score is because he said a lot in a very, very short period of time.
Yeah, he did. Shout out to him on that. I just...
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone on that high note.
Yeah. You must be
smiling.
so proud.
Was it a Joker thing? He just kept...
Yep.